Hey friends, and welcome back. My name's Chrissy. This is Stronger Every Day. We are on part 2 of 30 ways to help you overcome depression and anxiety. This is 11 through 20. I can link above the previous video. So let's go ahead and dive in and get started with number 11, which is forgive. This is a big one and it's a hard one because we don't always want to. We feel like we're vindicated in our anger, and even if we get an apology, which let's just be honest, sometimes we don't and we never do, we still feel like we're vindicated and holding on to that anger. What I've come to learn in my time on this earth is I prefer peace. So one of the people that I listened to was talking about how they start forgiving someone in the middle of being hurt. And I love that. I absolutely love that. And I hesitate to use their name because here's the thing. There's going to be preachers and teachers and pastors that you like that maybe I don't like, and vice versa. And we tend to judge that person based on, again, what do you look like? What do you talk? How do you sound? What political party are you with? What religion are you? What background do you have? Do you eat, dress, talk, think, speak like me? And if you don't, then we don't like you. And so I'll keep the name to myself, but some of you probably already know who I'm talking about. And I love it. I love that. Forgiving people in the middle of them offending you. Because my peace is more important than my anger and my need for justification that I'm right and you're wrong and I deserve an apology. And maybe I do. Maybe it is a horrible thing that's been done. There's been things that have been done to me, and some I got an apology for and some I never did. One of the things I've talked a little bit about is my mom. We had a tough relationship and I never got an apology from her. Never. And I decided years before she passed, and actually before she got cancer, that I didn't need one. It wouldn't be what I needed. It was never going to make what I felt inside feel better if I got one. So I decided just to forgive and move on and just let it go. And I remember my dad saying after she passed, I wish you and your mom could have talked about all the things that have happened and worked that out. And I said, Dad, I didn't need that. I didn't need that. And even if my mom would have needed that, it would have been detrimental to me listening to it, because it would have been just not what either one of us would have benefited from. So, but I forgave her long ago, and it's just letting go. There's been people that have hurt me since then. It's just letting go of that anger, and it's not always easy. But one thing I try to remember is there's times in my life that I've hurt people, and I say this a lot when I meet somebody for the first time and we've kind of become friends, that I can almost guarantee you at some point in our relationship I am going to do or say something that is going to hurt. And it's not because I don't love you and because I don't care about you. Maybe I'm having a bad day. Maybe I didn't mean it that way, whatever. But I hope that you can love me enough to forgive me. And I know that there's going to be a day that you're going to do the same to me. And I hope that I can love you enough to understand where you're coming from and let that go and forgive you and us still be friends. I want peace. I just want peace. Who's right, who's wrong, honestly don't care. And if it's a huge injustice, I struggle with this, and maybe we'll do a video on this one day about where do you just pray and let God handle it, and where do you start coming in flipping tables over. I struggle with that because there are some things that are difficult in life, and when you see things that are happening, I struggle with that, and I don't think I'm alone there. Number 12 is stop comparing yourself and your life to everyone else. This is okay, so let's just start off here. You're on social media, you see all your friends, let's say for summer vacation, right? They're going to the beach, they're going to the lake, they're going to the mountains, they're doing this, they're doing that, they're having all these adventures, and we have 437 photos of every fun thing that they did during that trip. I would venture to say that 3/4 of those people are going to be making payments for the next 6 months to a year on said vacation. They're also probably stressed because of said vacation, because now that they had the fun, now they have to pay for the fun. But it tricks us into thinking, oh wow, what a life. what a world, what a life. I would love to, you know, I didn't get to go on vacation this year, and you know, wow, look at them. I don't compare myself to anyone. I compare myself to the latest version of me, right? My goal is to be the best version of Chrissy I can be, that is the most Christ-like as possible. I don't feel the need to look like somebody or speak like somebody or drive the top of the line vehicle or dress in whatever fashion or wear. I just don't. And maybe I'm different in that way. We rob our joy and our peace, and we just create depression and anxiety when we are constantly comparing ourselves to others. Not only ourselves, but then we push it on our husbands and our wives, our kids, our family. You know, y'all should act like this and y'all should do this, and nobody is perfect. It's just a constant roller coaster of comparing ourselves and what we lack and what they have. I just would encourage you to really maybe take a second and work on deprogramming yourself to get away from that, to get away from comparing. And what I've even done is went a step above that, and I get excited. We have some friends, we have a lot of friends that they're in a good spot right now in life, and so when they get blessed with something, I think it's awesome. Like, I'm tickled for them. I'm excited for them. They're hard workers. They love people. They're just good people to be around, and when something good happens to them, I'm not jealous or envious. I'm like, man, that is awesome. I feel that deep down in my soul, deep down in my spirit. It's not a fake thing. I think, man, God, look at you blessing them. I encourage you. Now, am I perfect in this? No, I don't. I think maybe in this particular area, I'm a little bit better than average as far as that. I just don't look at someone and think, well, why did they get a lake house? Well, why did they have a house in the mountains? Well, why did they go on 3 months to Aruba? Or, you know, whatever that might. Why did they get 235 acres? I'm excited. I'm excited for them. I'm excited somebody got a blessing. I'm not jealous because I didn't get mine yet. You know, I'm excited. And I tell y'all all the time, I find more excitement in the little things that God does for me on a day in and day out basis. Let me tell you one very basic. I told you in the first video that I had been sick with strep throat and all the symptoms of strep throat. And let me tell you one little thing God did for me. Not only did he got us there and my husband was able to drive us, but I was nauseous and other things while we were in the waiting room, and I almost passed out twice in the waiting room. I had a wet like a bandana. My husband he's bald, so sometimes if he doesn't have his like little hat on, he'll carry a bandana so he can keep the sun off his head. Luckily he had one, and I had it around my neck. I had to be like wheeled back in a wheelchair, and I needed to go to the bathroom, but I was afraid if I went to the bathroom I would pass out in there, and then you know, you're still going to go to the bathroom basically. God kept me, my bottom half from going to the bathroom, we'll say that. We got back in the car. I laid in the back seat face down with they gave me like a little bag to throw up in, and even though I did throw up in the bag, I didn't throw up all over the car. And then he was able to, they had given me a shot of Phenergan for the vomiting, and said, you know, you need to get her straight home because this is going to really kick in. And Nick cannot help me at all. So we got all the way home. I was still fairly lucid, came in, went to the bathroom, did fine, got in the bed, and then fell asleep. That's God, friends. That's God the whole way. I'm more tickled that he helped me in that situation than, well, how come they got a brand new, you know, BMW? I like him being with me in the everyday, all day little moments. You know, if he chooses to bless me with a 500-acre farm, I mean, I'm not going to be mad about it. I'm just telling you. But I just get tickled when he's with me in the everyday. I get tickled when I narrowly miss hitting a deer on the way home, because I know I didn't narrowly miss it. God prevented it. I'm not saying that when you hit a deer, that's God doing that, but I tend to look at all the little things that he does for me. Those make me happier than anything. Got a little diverted there. Let's go on to number 13, which is journal. For me, journaling doesn't help much. I used to have the mindset of, well, I don't want to write when I'm feeling down, because if anybody ever read this, but for millions of people, journaling is a big one. That's been not only people that I've talked to who deal with depression and anxiety, but also from some of the research that I have done, journaling is a big one. It helps, I guess, get those thoughts in your head out on paper, and instead of, they're not in there, they're still in there, but they're not, you've released them, right? When you, have you ever turned to just, you said, God, I realize I can't do this. I've been carrying it on my shoulders this whole time. I turn it over to you, and you feel that just release of weight. That's kind of how I associate what they're talking about with journaling. So journaling, if journaling works for you, write it down. Maybe it will help you too to journal the good days, so that you can go back and look and see what happened in that month that you were having some bad times, and then the week later. Because friends, there's always something just on the other side that if you don't hold on for, you're never gonna see. The next one is relax, and this for me is very hard. I don't understand it. I don't really know how to do it. I am getting a little bit better at it. I feel like I'm getting a little bit better at it. For me, what I feel is relaxing is just is maybe being home, or maybe I picture, like, if you're in the mountains, just sitting out on the deck, watching the leaves, watching maybe the bear or the deer or the birds or whatever that might look like in the area that you live in. Maybe it's dolphins, maybe you live on the ocean, but just kind of watching that and just breathing it in. You know, sometimes being at the beach and just smelling the salt air and just watching and listening to the waves can be relaxing to me. I don't live near a beach, so I couldn't tell you the last time I did that. But whatever that looks like for you, maybe it's lighting a candle and taking a bath. Maybe it's just lighting a candle and listening to some music, dancing around your house while nobody's watching, or maybe while everybody's watching. Whatever that might look like to help you relax, I think would be a great one. And again, that is one that I'm working on. I'm just not quite sure how you're supposed to do that, especially in certain times of life. But it is, you know, I'll tell you this, my boss was telling me, this is back when this first started happening with Nick back in April, and she said, what are you doing for you? And I'm like, I don't, what? What are you talking about? And she said, don't let yourself miss moments of opportunities to help you mentally and physically recoup. And she said, what's one thing that you enjoy? And I said, well, I love sitting out on the back porch and watching the chickens and goats. That to me is relaxing. And you might be like, what? Watching what? Your chickens and goats? No. I love it. I love watching them interact. I love watching them talking and chasing things and just interacting, playing. I love watching them just be them, just do whatever they want to do. It's relaxing for me. And so I would take 5 minutes. I would try to take 5 minutes, or maybe it was 3 minutes, and just sit on the back deck just for a second. It's hot here in Tennessee, and it usually is, you know, May, June, July, August, and some of September are usually pretty warm. But just taking that time and sitting out there and relaxing, whatever relaxing looks like to you. Number 15 is check your priorities. Nick and I talk about this on a semi-regular basis. I think priorities change, obviously, from season to season, but there's a few things that we have kind of whittled out of our life, and there's probably more that need to go. I do best when things are gradually changed. I don't do great when everything's just kind of wha-bam in your face, which is one thing that took me so long to finally overcome depression and anxiety, was that I would say, okay, I'll talk to a counselor, and then I would do that for a couple months, and then I would do this, and then I would do that, and I kind of threw the book at it in a staging way. I really started diving deep and spending time in the Lord, but then I worked on my diet, my exercise, I worked on my quiet time, I worked on my list of things that I did to help make me better, a lot of which we talk about in these 3 videos. The next one is don't isolate for long. And I preface that for long. Sometimes I'll come home and just say, I need a minute. And that might be 5 minutes, it might be an hour, it might be 3 hours. But I've been overstimulated that day. There's been a lot that I've had to fight off. It's not always easy. in today's world to maintain with a Christian response to someone in your face screaming at you. That can be difficult, to love them with the love of the Lord and see past why they're yelling at you and see into what's actually wrong, like what's actually causing that problem. That's hard. And so there's times I'll come home and say, I need a minute, and just isolate. There's times where I don't want to see anybody all day long. There's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong with it is when we get in that season of life for days, weeks, and months, and we isolate, and again, we only hear the crap that the devil's telling us. That's an issue. Routine. For me, routine is huge. I need a routine, and I don't have to think about it, so it takes the anxiety out of it. What are we doing today? That causes me anxiety. That's one of the questions that Nick will ask me all the time. What's the plan today, or what are we doing? And it gives me a level of anxiety. Not so much anymore, because I know now that his intent is what's our itinerary for today? Like, what are we doing at 7 a.m. till midnight? It's just he's wanting to get a game plan for what my plans are, what his plans are, where they interloop, and where they need to be done separate. But I like a routine. I like to get up around the same time every day. I like to go to bed around the same time every day. I like to leave for work around the same time every day. I like to have my stuff set out, ready to go. I like and enjoy routine. I don't have to think about it. It's like a recipe that you no longer have to look at the recipe card. It's just pleasurable when you don't have to think about it. You don't have to worry about it and constantly go back and check that recipe. You already know how to do it. You just fix it, bake it, cook it, and go, whatever. But it's having a routine. The next one is acknowledging acknowledging whatever's going on. I don't push aside what life has for us right now. And one of the newest things in life that we found out Monday before I got sick is Luke, our Yorkie. I'll put a picture of him up here, has a mass on his heart, and we have maybe 2 to 6 months with him. It's been a hard year. We've lost Maggie, our goat. We've lost Stella, our Dane. We are going to possibly lose Luke. Nick's been sick, thunder. Nick's been sick for 3+ months. It's been a lot going on. And then Sugar isn't in necessarily the best health. Our Roddy mix. Colt, our oldest Yorkie, is 15, going to be 16. He's not in the best health. We just have a lot going on, and that's just some of the stuff in our immediate right here thing. But I don't not acknowledge. I acknowledge all of the things that are happening. I acknowledge everything that's going on. I'm not an ostrich sticking my head in the sand, but I'm acknowledging it. I'm just not dwelling in it. I'm just not gonna live in, okay, we got the news about Luke, we processed it, there were some tears, there still are tears, but I'm gonna enjoy every day God lets us have that little feller around. The same with Nick. We don't know his situation, we don't know what's going on. We're not acknowledging that he's sick. You can't not look at him and know that he's sick. You can't not talk to him on certain days. His voice is weak. We're not acknowledging that. We are acknowledging that, but we're again shifting our focus onto this is the reality, and this is how we're going to lean on God for it. We're going to lean in. We're going to be all in with God. And so just acknowledging it and realizing that once you acknowledge it, then you can start working on how you're going to fix it. The next one, number 19, is prioritize your sleep. I cannot say this enough. I feel like when we struggle with mental health, it's either too much or too little. We either sleep too much or we sleep too little, or it's never routine. It's kind of all over the place. I've tried to set a schedule. It's been a little off since Nick's been sick, but we try to go to bed at the same time. We try to wake up at the same time. It just helps, but it's also prioritizing that sleep, that there's only so many hours in the day and I need so many hours to function. Some people say they function fine on 4 hours. Some people say they need 10 hours. Everybody's different. Everybody's in between. I don't think there's a right and wrong answer here. I think it's what we know what works for our body, so whatever that looks like. But it's prioritizing your sleep and having a sleep routine. Number 20 is set goals. So Nick and I had decided that we wanted to set a goal that we wanted to take a small vacation this year, so over the weekend. And so we started putting money back for that so that we could do that. We started researching where we wanted to go, looking for things. It's something to get excited about. We also decided that we wanted to start being a little bit more prepared for an emergency. And so setting funds aside, watching what we're spending, setting funds aside so that, you know, this whole situation that's been going on since April with him could have been a lot different depending on the job he had, and we could have been in a bad spot. So it's just setting things aside to have goals. Now maybe your goals are you want to buy a house, or you want to spend, you know, you want to save money to get married, or you want to buy a dress, or there's a vehicle you want, or whatever your goal might look like. All of us have different dreams, all of us have different goals, but it's setting a goal and making a plan to actively go at it. I think it's rewarding when you see the progress, even if it's slow, but you're seeing the progress happen. It's a joyful thing. And like I said, there's no time limit, so whether it takes you, you know, 10 minutes or 10 years to get to that goal, you set it and you went for it, and you never gave up on that goal. So that's number 20. So that is video 2 in our 3-part series. We will have video number 3 up. Like I said, I'll probably stagger these so that it's not all Monday. Every Monday is a video about this, because some people don't necessarily need this, but it'll probably be every other Monday in the series until we're all done and caught up there. So I end every video this way. It is always my heart and hope that you feel this. God loves you. I love you. Your friends, your family love you, and we need you here. We'll see you in the next one, friends. Bye.